A few days ago, I posted on Reddit a hat that I found on eBay. It's a Rooster Teeth Flex Fit hat for $25,000. Now, I definitely didn't think they were serious. I sent them an offer for $40. It was immediately rejected. So I sent them another offer for $60. It was rejected. And so I kind of gave up. I did get an email later from one of those automatic eBay things where it says the buyer is more likely to accept an offer that's around $6,000, which is something the buyer usually sets themselves on eBay from my understanding. Obviously, this is an insane amount for a hat. We've seen Red vs. Blue Season 15 going for like $500 or $1,000. Absolute insanity. But Bernie is obviously restarting Rooster Teeth, and he saw that post, and it kind of prompted him to ask the community, what kind of merch would we want to see moving forward? Now, he did preface this, and I'll say this one up front, things like the McFarlane Griff Ball, he said that doesn't look like it's something that's in the cards in the near future. So it sounds like licensed merchandise might be more hit or miss. So what I wanted to do today is to give a forum for people to talk about the merchandise they would most want to see Rooster Teeth come back with. But rather than just put up pictures of old merch, I'm going to show you guys my favorite pieces of Rooster Teeth lore and merch that I have, and you're going to want to stick around to the end because that's where I unveil my favorite thing. If you've seen my RT shorts, you know about it. It might be one of the earliest pieces of Rooster Teeth lore you've ever seen. So I'm going to go through my favorite things, and with each one, tell you a piece of merchandise I'd like to see. Make sure you give thumbs up to all the other people in the comments who you agree with, so that way if Bernie sees this, he can easily scroll through the comments and see what kind of things you guys want. Everyone has been so supportive in all my other videos. You guys have a lot of great ideas from those other videos. I'd love for you to just put them here. If he sees it, maybe it'll get made. So first up, I want to show you my favorite piece of Rooster Teeth merch. This is my Red vs. Blue Season 1 DVD. Now this is an original Season 1 DVD. You can tell by a few different ways. I actually got to talk to Bernie at RTX a few years, and he showed me how to figure it out. So number one, they put special edition on top of the DVD. They thought it would just be kind of a funny joke because it's the first one. There were no other normal editions. That in and of itself makes this one the special edition. You can also check the inside on the disc. Despite the hundreds and maybe thousands of hours they poured into Red vs. Blue Season 1, and especially doing things like encoding the DVD for all the different DVD players and countries, they made one mistake that you can see right on the face of the disc. Yep, they accidentally spelled trademark as tradmark. Now next up, this is probably a fan favorite. This is the Bernie bobblehead from the RTAA, where he talks about owning the domain bernie.com. So this one's really cool. I've had it for a while. I've never actually been able to get my hands on the Gus one. I saw it up on sale for eBay a few times, but I was never really in a position to pick it up. But I know a few of you out there have it, but that's super awesome. I'd love to have a complete set. For those of you that don't know, you should go watch the animated adventure, but basically Bernie owned the website bernie.com, and then the city of Bernie, Tasmania reached out to him to try to get ownership of it. He kind of was a little tongue-in-cheek with them and told him that he'd let them have the website for free as long as they built a statue in his honor where he was holding a platypus in a can of Foster's, and he got to make up the inscription. Then at one of the RTXs, an enterprising couple of fans built their own little statue that they gave to Bernie and then said they wanted to bring themselves to Bernie, Tasmania and leave out there. I don't really remember what happened to that. If you remember, throw it in the comments because I can't remember what came of that statue. But this one's really cool. I keep it in the box, but it's definitely been opened before, so it's not mint in box, so don't worry about me pulling it out. I don't know, maybe if it was mint in box, I could have got $25,000 out of it. Who knows? So like I said, I'm also going to talk about what kind of merch I would like. And I kind of covered the first one with, I'm not kidding, I really want a Rooster Teeth Flex hat. I'm not a huge hat guy, but the hats I do wear are Flex Fit. I have a pretty big head. So I really would unironically love a Rooster Teeth Flex Fit hat. $25,000 is a little steep for me. And if you notice from that original post, he actually also wanted shipping on top of that. And really the shipping is where it broke me. I mean, I just can't budget that extra $5 or $6 at the end of the day. But another piece of Rooster Teeth merch I'd really like to see, a Rooster Teeth tchotchke. Just something from the top of my desk. I'd love to have something at work or at my desk at home. I'm trying to make these kind of link up with the pieces of merch I'm showing you, at least as much as I can. But it would be cool to have a little something on the desk, a little Rooster Teeth statue or a paperweight. Something small that's not too offensive or in the way, but a cool little thing to say, I'm a fan of Rooster Teeth, and maybe be a little secret signal to the other daywalkers who walk past my desk. Next up, and probably one that I think a lot of people have said in the comments of all my videos, and that's going to be pretty obvious here, box sets. So these two pieces of merch are two of my favorite pieces of merch that they ever put out. This is obviously the Blood Gulch Chronicles box set and the 10-year anniversary box set. These box sets are filled with so much extra content. I can't even imagine how much work and effort went into making all of the little clips and videos. If you haven't got a chance, I know somebody has uploaded online the full DVDs for everything, so you can kind of go back through and see what special features or behind the scenes videos you missed. There's one that's cool in particular. To give you an example, Bernie has to drive a truckload of merch across Texas to Comic-Con, I think. And on the way, they are quickly running out of gas, and you can actually see the needle moving in a pretty tense situation. But a cool video that you may have heard the story before, but there's an actual video behind it. But yeah, I know all of us want a 20-year box set. And hopefully, honestly, we get a 20, 25, and 30-year box set if Bernie comes back and wants to go back to Red vs. Blue and tell more stories. I know a lot of people would love to see it. I know Red vs. Blue Restoration kind of set that up. And if you like Red vs. Blue, you'll definitely want to stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to be giving away a little something for all the people who comment and try to help Rooster Teeth and Bernie figure out what new merch to do. So yeah, a Red vs. Blue 20-year box set would be awesome, but I can't imagine the manpower that would go into making it a product that I think Bernie would be proud of and would actually put out. Next up, I newly acquired these again. These are the Rooster Teeth comics. These are chock full of stories. If you love Rooster Teeth and you love the lore and history of Rooster Teeth, one, go back and watch my 2-hour Rooster Teeth road trip where I drive to all the offices and tell you about some of the history and lore of Rooster Teeth to help you relax, go to sleep, get through work. Comments on there are super positive, and I would love to make another one. But my car was actually stolen in January, and the thief, while I did get the car back, one of the things he got rid of was my Rooster Teeth comics. I would love to believe that a enterprising Rooster Teeth fan out there saw the comics in the back seat, and that's part of why they stole the car, and maybe they're off reading it right now. And if so, that's kind of cool, but I'm worried they found their way to the bottom of a dumpster. I did shell out like $120 when I saw them again on eBay recently to make sure I reacquired the collection. I wish there were more to go around. It's been out of print for a while, but Luke McKay's active on Reddit. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a collaboration with him and Rooster Teeth again one day. But with that brings me to a new kind of piece of Rooster Teeth merch, and maybe some sort of compendium, or I know a lot of people have talked about Bernie doing an autobiography or a story of Rooster Teeth, but little compendiums of Rooster Teeth's history. Whether it's one big thing or it's something that's released in chunks could be really fascinating. You know, maybe like the story of the Blood Gulch Chronicles, the story of starting Achievement Hunter, just little things that would be fun to either come out in little chunks or put together in one big product when it's out. Really awesome, would love some sort of history. It's been, over 20 years. So there's a lot of history they can mine and a lot of really cool stories that I would almost love to see it as a short story section of short stories from each era of the company. Now, next up, Bernie said he wanted 5 pieces of merch ideas and maybe 2 alternates. So first, I'm going to give you these 2 alternates before I show you my favorite piece of Rooster Teeth lore that I own. So first up is the Rooster Teeth online disc. They sent this out with a bunch of select orders. It wasn't something you could ever buy. It also wasn't something that I got in any of my orders. I actually found it from someone on Reddit who had posted it before, and I had reposted it asking if anyone had, if they had the disc from this picture, and a guy reached out and said, hey, I'm the guy who posted that exact picture 5 years ago, and I'd love to give it to you. So I reached out to him, we got in contact, and he delivered. It's really cool. Basically, it's not much anymore. It used to load a cool 90s desktop that would take you to the Rooster Teeth website, whether it's the store or the Rooster Teeth TV, but now unfortunately the disc doesn't work, but it does give you a cool little icon on your computer that's the Rooster Teeth logo, so that's pretty cool. With that said, I'd love some retro merchandise, throwback to the early days of the internet, the early days of Rooster Teeth, whether that's through CDs or again, kind of going back to fun little tchotchkes, things that are more reminiscent of the early internet and a time that I think a lot of us are nostalgic for. Though I know Bernie doesn't want to lean too much into nostalgia, it would be cool to get a little bit of that. The next alternate piece of merch is you could never get, and it's some of the rarest Rooster Teeth merch in the world because it's something my beautiful fiance made for me for Christmas, and it is some card sleeves. This is something really cheap and inexpensive that I'm sure they could produce pretty massively. It was really cool. She got it through something called Dragon's Lair. You can see it's a little Rooster Teeth podcast logo, and I have it on a little deck of Magic cards that I paid a lot of money for but haven't used yet. So with that, I mean, this is a pretty direct correlation. It would be cool to get some card sleeves. I know Pokemon's back in a huge way, maybe a negative way in some cases of some videos I've seen online, but I collect football cards. I like Magic cards. I would love some card sleeves, some official Rooster Teeth card sleeves with a bunch of different logos. That'd be awesome. And now to my favorite piece of Rooster Teeth lore. You may recognize it. This is the Computer Gaming World Monthly magazine, which is what partially inspired Red vs. Blue to even be created. If you've seen my other videos, you know the story, but basically they had been running a site called Drunk Gamers where they put up an Apple Switch parody, which was a parody of Apple commercials starring Gus. The parody got really big, and then they shut down Drunk Gamers. Computer Gaming World reached out and said they wanted the little video to be featured on their demo disc that they used to put in every issue. Bernie and them put it together, but realized they had no landing spot for people who wanted to see more content. So they took the end of the video, swapped out the drunkgamers.com with redversusblue.com, and Bernie had already been ruminating this idea of Red vs. Blue, and that's how we got what we have today. and this is the May 2003 issue. The demo disc still works. I just popped it in. I have some screenshots that I've posted on Reddit, and I'm planning a few other videos where maybe we go in and try the demos and see if we can get them to work. But the Apple Switch parody's still on there, and it ends with the red versus blue logo, so it's really cool. Which brings me to my last little request for Rooster Teeth merch. I would love some throwback stuff. Anything that was old, that sold well. I know there's a bunch of cool Caboose shirts that people like, and there were so many old pieces of merch that seemed like they sold really well and were really popular. Like one of my favorite things they put out towards the end of the company was even the Drunk Gamers mug that you used to see in old Rooster Teeth shorts. So it'd be really cool to get throwbacks to that kind of stuff for the older fans who didn't maybe have the money at the time to buy it, but would love to rebuy it now. So that's it. That's all of my favorite Rooster Teeth merch and lore that I own. But now we are going to talk about a little giveaway that I'm doing. If you weren't aware, I put out shorts every single day, and every week we have been doing something called the Rooster Teeth merch hunt, where I go out to different thrift stores and look for Rooster Teeth merch and then give it away. So you should definitely jump in on that. I do it on TikTok and on YouTube. And this is actually all the stuff we've given away so far. And don't worry if you haven't got it yet, it's been really busy. I'm gonna get it to the post office this week, but this is a good opportunity to show you all the things that we found so far. You see some ruby, some red versus blue, pretty exciting stuff. We even found a box set in our very first episode. But today I want to incentivize people and thank them for watching this video and all the videos I've been putting out. The support's been so great. So today I'm going to give away a sealed copy of Red vs. Blue Restoration. When it first got released, Bernie talked about supporting it and maybe getting a box set, so I actually bought 2 copies. That's the only way I knew to support it, and I couldn't afford 200 copies, so we went with 2.
2? What do you mean you only opened 2? Well, I can't figure out just 2, so let's pretend you opened 200.
So there we go. So I will be giving this away. All you have to do to be included is, I'd love if you subscribe, but I'll be honest, as long as you drop a comment in there, you'll be considered. A lot of people hide their subscriptions, and I totally get it, so I'm not gonna go based off that. But if you do drop a comment and I do see you're subscribed, I'll like you a little bit more. And that name's gonna be in my head, and who knows, maybe I'll let some more giveaways slip, and everyone's been so positive, I just wanna give back as much as I can. So remember, drop down below what Rooster Teeth merch you want. Thank you so much for watching, and the best way to get all this information quick is to subscribe and listen to the Morning Somewhere podcast with Bernie and Ashley. They put out an episode every single day. Despite saying they're gonna give themselves a break, they haven't done it yet. They've been doing it every day for a year and a half now, and there's no end in sight. They put out a lot of Q&As for their top sponsors, and I've given away several Patreon memberships to a lot of you. You should definitely go. You want to stay linked in, and if you get in soon, you might be one of the people who get to do the early test of the new Rooster Teeth website. So that's super exciting. Well, I have a bunch of shorts I have to get caught up on, but it's been awesome making another video for you guys. I'll talk to you soon, and let me know if you want to crowdfund that hat. I think we could put it together. All right, see ya.